I wonder if you can hear the bird song coming through my open window. The past 24 hours especially have been full of sensing experiences. Yesterday, I mentioned briefly the work that we've been doing with Thea Fast. And I'm going to add some links in the comments. For those who are watching this on YouTube and LinkedIn, wait a second. For those who are watching this on Twitter and LinkedIn, I don't think they can see the comments. But on YouTube and Facebook, I think you can see the comments. First, I will share this main link, which you see scrolling across the screen. The link for subscribing. Oh, I see Ryan there. We had such fun recording some days ago. If you go to that link, intuitivepublicradio.network, still on the main page, is that first recording that Ryan and I made. And then a couple of days later, I got to join him on his broadcast on Riffing with Ryan on YouTube. So I'm going to bring this link here too, since I'm bringing links. We really anchored some crucial information. I'll share this one next first. This is more information about Intuitive Public TV. And then main page, intuitivepublicradio.substack.com. Here we are currently on the bottom left corner above the fold. My great conversation with Ryan Erickson. There we go. I did that right. That will appear on Facebook and on YouTube. Facebook is fb.me/intuitivepublicradio. YouTube is youtube.com/@intuitivepublictv. And then the link that I'm bringing next is our conversations with Thea Fast. I think possibly only one of them is up there yet. It's just the one right now that is public. And we have been doing amazing work behind the scenes. Here is Thea's link. There we go. yesterday I got to do some especially enjoyable somatic practice while walking. And Thea led me through what must have been a fairly brief exercise, but it was deep. It anchored a place for me that is timeless in a lot of ways. And we really need that kind of timelessness, where it is very positive. There are other forms of timelessness, but timelessness in somatic sensing, wherever and however and whatever we are sensing with one another, really gives the body an opportunity to locate, to start to know, to start to receive clearer signals about what it is we're experiencing. There's so much dissociation everywhere. There's so much entrenchment in denial that people are experiencing. And we really must make a very intentional practice of being with our bodies. What Thea has said, and I'm paraphrasing, but it really made an impression on me that each of us, our body is the only animal we're in relationship with for our entire lives, and most directly. And when we've been organizing ourselves for increased deepening of somatic practice in intuitive prowess, intuitive soma, intuitive recovery, I will add these links here also. We are achieving resonances that had been totally cut off for all of us in one way or another, where many of us had ongoing experiences for seemingly endless periods of time, timelessness, that other kind of timelessness, where people said to us, no one recovers from this. It is not possible to recover from this. And so we would seek out somatic resources. We would seek out who is out there talking about this, who is out there formulating materials to share with people who are so severely affected, who is resonating, who is centering the music of the body, who is practicing really deeply listening to what the body is experiencing and what happens in relationship between you and me, between any of us, between humans, between all living creatures, when we're listening to the music of these experiences and building true relational integrity, not only with one another, but in our bodies. And we were not able to find much at all. We found people who would typically misunderstand us and what we were saying. We would find people who had been trained in ways that essentially erased our experiences. And it was very, very difficult to find anyone who was already working on this and practicing it if they were not themselves already very severely affected, so much so that we might not even be able to reach one another or maintain contact with one another. And it was years of this. And when we were fortunate enough to discover Thea's work and started practicing with her for the somatic stretch sessions that she leads. She records classes. She leads groups through somatic stretch. And the conversations surrounding all of this, we started to much more deeply anchor a true recovery trajectory for those of us who had been totally cut off from this, totally cut off from our bodies. And it really takes a lot to start to come back from this kind of thing. It requires a lot of awareness and a lot of connectivity to even start to believe in the possibility of somatic recovery, recovering my contact with my living body, with my sacred physiology. And between us, all of us, our collective sacred physiology. And that's the intuitive economic we were talking about yesterday, story being and vocational vitality. What's the work? What's the most important work that we could possibly be doing? And that's something that's different for all of us, but also it resonates in places that then turn out to be much the same in so many ways. So how do we talk about what we have in common in that? In that we all have bodies that we have experienced the destruction of in some way. We all have bodies that we benefit from more deeply knowing and anchoring with. And so what we've done over a long period of time, is we've been building these resources. We've been identifying what can we share with one another, what can we learn with and from one another that really helps us anchor this. And what I'm talking about now is a major reason that I can manage the EMF exposure of a live stream like this. Ryan asks, where are we on X? Which, for anyone who hasn't gotten the memo yet, that's Twitter. Twitter is X. X is Twitter. We are at, here, let me put this up on the screen too, because I know how to do it. Intuitive Public on Twitter X. Intuitive Public. There we go. I can hit buttons. My fingers function. My eyes need more rest, but my eyes also are improving. There are a lot of things that have been improving my eye function and other sensory functions. I am very, very lucky to have discovered what I've been discovering. And the reason I've been discovering it has been the endeavors of the Intuitive Network. We did not have any way to do this previously. We had to build the infrastructure to even start to achieve tiny slivers of it. Rue asks about how to spell Thea's name. And Rue, you've got it right. TheaFast. And here are more links. There we go. Thea is also found at humanbeherd.com, HERD. She does a lot of beautiful work with humans and horses. Here are our Telegram channels where some of these conversations are going on. There are little snippets that happen in the public Telegram channels. And then for each Telegram channel, there are sometimes dozens of different private groups that are all working to build forward the different platforms that we most need for vocational recovery, for somatic recovery, for the recovery or creating from scratch as needed of media privilege like this. So how long have I been trying to broadcast in this way, and how much of the intuitive infrastructure actually was built for us to do a version of this asynchronously, because I could not tolerate the radiation exposure from the devices. And doing so even for very short amounts of time previously was absolutely excruciating, really damaging to my body. And for me to have recovered this much strength and stamina is an amazing testament to the infrastructure that I and our colleagues have built over this time. 2016, hell. 2017, hell. 2018, hell. I could just keep going. 2018, 2019, 2020, we started using StreamYard. But then we got cut off from it a bunch of times. We couldn't keep doing it. I couldn't keep doing it. I could barely record. Even if it was just like a recording with one person on Zoom video, I could barely do that. And what we found was that if we keep re-anchoring with the Telegram platforms that we had created, and let me find, oh, it's up here somewhere. Can I talk and scroll at the same time? Sometimes I can. There it is. Here is our share and discuss. Oh, it's not appearing. Oh, it is appearing. There it is, along the banner on the bottom. It's going that away. This is our public community chat on Telegram Messenger, where if you join and introduce yourself, we'll help you find all of these very, very numerous spaces on Telegram, many of them public, many of them private, all of them for the purpose of helping all of us anchor recovery where we have been told perhaps that could never be possible. And we do this through showing up in groups with one another and anchoring relational integrity and learning to collaborate fluently and sharing what we can share. The broadcast that I joined of Ryan Erickson's on Riffing with Ryan at YouTube, I'll have to find a link to that and share that too. I would like to make sure that shows up on our Substack also. Ryan facilitates open space dialogues. The broadcast that I joined was called Open Space Live. And I had learned about open space methodology many years ago as part of I think the first time that I encountered it was at the Tribes conference. Tribes was a community organized by Seth Godin many years ago. And I think it was at that conference that we somehow made happen, where I was sitting in on sessions and don't know who it was. Someone was describing open space methods, and it really made an impression on me. And I didn't even remember it until years later. But essentially what we've done with Telegram Messenger is it's a version of what happens in open space sessions. And Ryan explains that. I can find this link. I'm getting better and better at this. Here it is. There we go. Maybe it'll work. It did work. Okay, great. Oh, and Ryan posted it too. Thank you. Here, I'll put yours up. It's really challenging to use all this technology. We have to really show up with our humanness in every possible way. We have to show up with our life vitality. In the absence of that, we have a lot of trouble, and it isn't only in cases that are the most severe. Anybody who does work on a regular everyday basis with digital and internet technology recognizes in some way that it takes something out of you. You've got to recuperate. You've got to get away from the devices. You've got to get away from the screens. You've got to give your eyes a break, right? You've got to be in contact with nature and music and creative expression. You need to practice how to really listen to what your body is saying. And if you don't, there are consequences. And many people do not realize how extremely those consequences can manifest. But people who have complex multi-system health conditions, injuries, they have not found the resources to recover from. Many people are not being permitted to recover from the injuries they've been enduring. People with very severe experiences of having their functions wiped out. Brain function, endocrine function, heart function, mobility functions, sensory motor functions is a topic we've been talking about a lot recently. When that happens, the people who then can communicate least increasingly know the most about what happens if we don't take care of our bodies, or if our environments are predisposed against us taking care of our bodies. And so one of the things that we center in the Intuitive Network continuingly is, what are we learning from those who have been surviving the front lines of this kind of extreme physical hardship? And what do we learn from the people who are told, you're never going to recover from this? And miraculously, those people can demonstrate recovering from it. That happens. And it is not very often talked about, except in this way that it occurs in the marketing landscape, where there's a pitch about a product, and then it will be repeated, but it's very difficult to know what's really going on when we're looking at marketing verbiage. It's really difficult to know if you're really hearing from a person's real experience or if it is in some way misleading. What we need is relational integrity. What we need is to be in group bodies together, building relationally with one another, building trust with one another, practicing together, attuning our somatics together, and experiencing what it's like to really be in contact, rather than allowing the marketing landscape to intermediate in all our relationships. Ooh, there are some links that Ryan is posting here, and I will share them. I have not seen these before. My experience with the resources that Ryan has recommended in the past has been very good. So I'm very curious about these links. Maybe I'll even look at them right now. futuresthatwork.com. Oh, that's a beautiful page. Our mission is to develop future-ready leaders. I am looking forward to exploring more of that. And let's take a look at this other one. appliedimprovisationnetwork.org. Applied improvisation draws lessons from the arts, comedy, jazz, and theater, and utilizes them for non-theatrical or non-performance applications. That sounds right in our wheelhouse. That's gorgeous. Thank you, Ryan, for sharing those. We have groups that work on platforms such as intuitive social theater and intuitive performance and intuitive opera company. And there are others. All of those probably are searchable on Telegram, even if you're not part of them. I think you'll find them if you put t.me/ and then one of these public channel names that I've mentioned about Telegram. And if you join us at t.me/community IPR, we can help you find them. You might stumble on them. There are a lot of them. There are a huge number of them. Rue is highlighting, what is it like to really be in contact rather than be influenced by marketing language? Yes, it was something like that I said. And how many of us are not even aware of where we're influenced by marketing language? And we think we're in contact, but we don't know what it feels like to really be in contact. And the work we've been doing with Thea at Intuitive Soma and our other platforms, it really deepens the true experience of being in contact. I have come to levels in my life now that I had never achieved earlier in my life, even before violence occurred for me, even before I got so sick from the toxicity in my environments, before I knew anything about neurological injury or how it could manifest. I was doing a lot of really amazing things. I was really pleased with how I was showing up in the world. I was practicing with my body, but I was not making contact with my aliveness and with other beings then in the way that I am able to do now. And that is massively because of the resources of the Intuitive Network. that is massively because of support from colleagues like Johanna Otigam and Thea Fast and others I wish to name that I'm looking forward to featuring more on our broadcasts. Ryan says that Applied Improv Network hosts a weekly open space on Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm so happy. I'm so happy with how many resources we have flowing in all the time now. There are more of them than I can even follow. And if anyone sends me messages, you can email me, max@intuitive.pub. You can Telegram message me directly, t.me/Max Morris. Join Community IPR on Telegram Messenger. How else can you reach out to me? You can message me on Facebook. You can message me on LinkedIn. I think maybe you might be able to message me on YouTube. You can definitely message me on Substack. Any of these places, if you reach out to me to share something or to ask me something, if I don't see it, try again. You are invited to send me repeat messages because I want to receive your messages. And of course, I do have some fascinating experiences with platform blindness, not only where my eyes get very sore and the neurological connections sort of sputter out and stop working if I'm very, very tired, but also whether or not I can see the text on the screen is a big question mark. So if you see like it's a little check mark or a little icon or whatever that says that I saw your message, I might not have seen it. I might not have been able to get those signals to my brain when I opened it. So if you're not getting a response from me, send me another message. Ryan introduces Daniel Barber, sound healing, a fast path to piano improvisation. I'm looking this up. Here we go. Oh, man. It's a little hard for me to verbalize. I'm going to try anyway. A huge part of my somatic practice over the years has been instrumental, has been musical, about singing or about channeling poetry and lyrics, or about whatever instrument I can reach and whatever noises I can make on it. And until recently, we had to move it out because it was not doing so well. We ended up having to send it off elsewhere. But we had a 1927 Hardman medium grand piano, this beautiful brown wooden piano from 1927. And the last time we tuned it to 432, which is different than 440. Most classical instruments are tuned to 440. But we tuned this one to 432, partly because I wanted to, and partly because it was not keeping tune very well. We're like, we'll tune it a little lower. And I do have a lot of recordings that I made practicing my rehab, my brain function rehab on that piano, where I studied piano from when I was 4 years old. And then I stopped at a certain point because I had some experiences in musical education environments that were not ideal for me. And then I stopped playing. But when I experienced very severe neurological injuries and my entire body stopped working, and I had to figure out how to even move again, how to speak, how to use a fork, how to be able to walk across a room. It's been so important for me to find whatever musical modalities I could engage with. And so we do have a lot of recordings, particularly on Telegram Messenger, but also some that were done with these recorders, the higher quality recorders, where I'm practicing my intuitive technique, my intuitive performance, letting it just flow out of me. I did relearn scales to a certain extent, which was, oh my gosh, that took a lot. I don't even know if I can do it again, because we don't have another piano that we can use right now. But while we had that Hardman Grand from 1927, I got to do a little bit, but a lot more of the time, what I would do is I would sit down and I would be in relationship with the piano. And it's I don't know if everyone would be familiar with there's a thing called contact improvisation, where people do, it's like yoga and dance, but like coming into contact with one another's bodies in all of these ways. I think if you look up contact improvisation, you'll probably find something like that. There are ecstatic dance communities that do contact improvisation events, and I think there's some people maybe in my local region who maybe meet at the park, and I haven't been able to do that yet, but I always thought that it was really lovely. And so when I interact with my instruments and practice spontaneous intuitive performance, I'm practicing contact improvisation in relationship with the instrument, as when I'm channeling poetry or singing spontaneously, I'm practicing contact improvisation with my own body, with the instrument that is my body. And that is so important to me. So I'm managing to follow these comments, and I haven't had an interlude, and we're verging on 40 minutes. I'm going to, I don't even want to put the interlude on, actually. Can I do this while I'm on the screen? That's what I'm feeling drawn to do. So I'm going to just go ahead and do it and check some messages. Now I'm going to have to change the way I do this, because I think it's prohibitive for me to keep trying to check all of them. But it's what I'm doing right now until my body makes it clear to me that there is what is it Scott Perry says? Do the next right thing. Do the next right thing is what he says. Let's see, on Twitter. Twitter's even harder for me to check, because then I got to look at multiple accounts. The reason that it took so long to do this, one of many reasons that it took so long to do this, is because we kept trying to identify, well, how can we do it more precisely or more correctly? And that really, it can totally stop progress from occurring. Ryan, you are not overloading the channels. Please put as many comments in as you like. I love the resources that you share. Ryan says, let me know if I'm overloading the channels. No, keep it coming. Whatever moves you. I'm really delighted to get to feature these kinds of resources. It's really important for us to have more of these conversations and create access points for people who otherwise have no chance at access points to these conversations. And really, that is primarily because people don't know how to understand one another. But when we work with language bridging, when we work with deep listening, when we bring our most attuned presencing to one another, when we engage our somatic sensing together, especially with a collective body, being the collective body, tending the collective body, we suddenly open up pathways to solutions that people think did not exist at all. And that has been a key set of elements connecting to the somatic practice that we've been working through with via FAST, with intuitive soma and intuitive prowess and intuitive recovery and other groups where we have gotten to share parts of her work. The dialogues that result from choosing to be here together, just like, I mean, open space is so wonderful for this. I don't know if I might or might not say this accurately. And Ryan, if you're still in the comments, you can feel free to correct me and I'll put it up on the screen. We start when we start. It's over when it's over. Whatever happens is the most important thing. It's the thing that was supposed to happen, right? Is there more than that? Those are the three that I remember. But those were three of the major precepts that we were anchoring when we started doing asynchronous group communications on Telegram Messenger, because it was the only thing so many of us could reach. And Telegram, thankfully, does not use some of the same proprietary and algorithm methods that the other platforms use. At least for now, they don't, which is really good. And although they are missing some disability aid functions that we really need, they have other disability aid functions that we don't have anywhere else. So we have used Telegram Messenger as a hub to really be able to contact and communicate with one another, to be able to practice together, to be able to sense somatically with one another, and be able to build relationally over time, whereas previously we could not do it maybe at all. And for people who are very severely affected, being cut off from contact in that way, being cut off from relationship, being cut off from language understanding, that is a whole new level of torture that if you haven't experienced, I'm so grateful that you've never had that experience. If you've never had that experience, it's really, really bad. It's a whole different kind of existence. And so everything that we do in the intuitive network to help people connect, to help people repair relational neurology, it facilitates many, many, many kinds of recovery. It facilitates the healing of many different systems and functions of the body. Somebody like myself may have sought solutions for years and years, many people decades, and nothing worked. And why? Is it because the person is hopeless? Or is it because relational neurological repair has not yet been centered? Because the relational neurology connects to every other experience and function in the body. And when we facilitate relational neurological repair by building relationally together, by building trust consistently with one another, a lot of things that didn't work before start working. And people regain their capacities in absolutely amazing ways. And here I am demonstrating, because I'm in the middle of that really exciting experience. I'm going to put a link here for our community media post where we describe more about how you or anyone you know can join our community broadcasting, whether that's by joining us at 10 a.m. on a particular day, like today, 10 a.m. Eastern to 11 a.m. Eastern. What do we have? Oh my gosh. So like 12 more minutes. I didn't even put an interlude on. What? How is this even happening? Whether you join us on a live broadcast on a Simultistream, or whether you reach out to me and we can make a separate recording that we can then publish on our platforms. I will also share this link to Intuitive Collaborative Direct, intuitive.social/collab, which is a game we play to fund the efforts of the Intuitive Network. The price at the top of the page will change intermittently. And if you read the whole page, and especially the bottom of the page, you'll see how you can participate if you do not have monetary currency to share. And for those of you who do, it's a delightful way to facilitate and tend the community body. Intuitive Social Collab gives everyone a means of scheduling directly with me for at least a 30-minute session, which we always record, partly because my concussions recovery, my neurological recovery means that where I'm at this point in my recovery trajectory is not in possession of short-term or long-term memory, pretty much almost at all. It's very lucky. I have lucky miracles where I remember things, but it's very difficult for me to track. So I record all of my interactions so that I can know what's going on. And serendipitously, it allows us to say, hey, we really like what we said in this recording. Do we want to share it with public media, which we always plan. We never make assumptions about that. All recordings are private unless we decide together, everyone who was involved, to make something public. Oh, that link didn't work. Maybe I can try it again. We'll see. Well, that looks like it worked. So that's one of our favorite games. And that gives anyone who wants to reach out an opportunity to get directly on the schedule, which also helps me track what's going on when I have a thing on the calendar that I can look at. How are we feeling in our bodies? How does it feel to be breathing, living, vital beings? Can you feel your heart beating? I was so excited when I went walking yesterday. I got a little sunburn. I don't think you can't really see it. It was a tiny little bit of a sunburn, almost nothing. But I got so excited when I looked in the mirror and I saw that I was like, uh-oh, is it going to be a bad sunburn or is it going to be not a problem sunburn? I have no idea, because I've been pretty extensively prevented from being able to get outside because of my disability considerations and the fact that we're still arranging support for me and people like me in this region and also everywhere, all over the world. We need these public media conversations. We need the Intuitive Network infrastructure to be in place so that we can all be more visible, be more audible, and know one another. And for me to get to go walking with Thea on the line with me yesterday, and then to come back like after this really wonderful somatic practice and look in the mirror and see, like, it's just like a little ruddy. I can't really see it on the video. Maybe I just look I look less pasty, right? Maybe. It thrills me, and it's scary because in the past, like the first time I had been able to go outside in a long time, there were some times where I came back in and I realized later I had a bad sunburn, and I was really happy about it still until I realized how hard it was on my body to have a bad sunburn. So this, I think, like, this is not, I did not have a bad sunburn this time. So I'm going to feel the fullness of that excitement. I'm going to let that really suffuse my cells and be with it and let it infuse strength into my living body. That's somatic sensing. That's intuitive recovery. And for all that we have been through in all of this over years of the very intensive striving that has been necessary for survival and to begin making better contact with anyone and also with one another, we have a really tremendous sense of ourselves as story beings, as the collective story being, where I am experiencing my part of the story and you are experiencing your part of the story. And Intuitive Public Radio and Intuitive Public TV and the intuitive network of intuitive invisibles and everybody who wants to see this succeed, we are all telling the next part of the story. We are writing the next page. And this is life-saving creative writing that we're engaging in, whether we're writing letters or typing, or whether we're making runes through the movements and positions of our bodies, or whether we're writing the material brocade of neurology that's growing neural structures and facilitating functions of all kinds in our bodies. And then our fingers work and our hands work and our eyes work and our voices work. And we build the material of our living bodies that way. And with the actions of our living bodies, we build the material world around us really, really powerfully. So the solutions are here as soon as we're really being present and dialoguing about them to discover them together. Very relevantly, I'm going to add Ryan's messages here about open space technology principles. Thank you. Here we go. Whoever comes is the right people. Whatever happens is the right place. Whenever it starts is the right time. When it's over, it's over. And when it's not, it's not. And of course, we do have a specific time slot with like 3.5 minutes left. But we do this all the time. Oh, there we go. There's another one. Whatever happens is the only thing that could have happened. And when these came back to me, when I joined Ryan's broadcast some days ago, I think it's the 16th of April at Riffing with Ryan on YouTube. The broadcast from the 16th of April, and I'm in the final half hour, but please catch the earlier parts too, because there are some beautiful conversations that occur earlier in that broadcast. And then I missed the middle. I didn't get to see the middle because I had a session to go to, but I made it back really serendipitously. Here's one more thing before the one law of open space technology. I'm going to leave that up And then hopefully there will be a next part that Ryan will share. No, I lost my thread. That's okay. My brain's been doing a lot today, and I haven't really taken a break. But we have been really centering somatic sensing. We have been really feeling together what can be possible when we're present with one another. Oh, that's a good one. I forgot that one. Thank you. Ryan says the one law of open space technology, if you find yourself in a place where you are neither contributing or learning, go somewhere else. And another thing that's very interesting to me is how much our practice in somatics with Thea Fast is also anchoring versions of these principles. We're going to have to talk more about that. That's really exciting for me, how all of this is interconnected. And we've been doing really beautiful things with it. So I guess I'll wrap us up. This is super enjoyable. We're going to do it again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern for an hour. We're looking at scheduling more other live broadcasts, especially for those in other parts of the world and on the West Coast. People are not necessarily able to join us really early in the morning in their time. So we're going to be posting primarily on the Substack, www.intuitivepublicradio.network. Come subscribe and follow what we're publishing. We will keep you updated. Please share our links. Please tell people that this is happening. Please invite all your dear ones, all your colleagues, your friends, your community members, your family members. Let's have these conversations. Let's learn how to really make contact with one another and engage this collective somatic sensing that co-creates such beautiful, powerful solutions. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. It has been an absolute joy.